Hi, this is Isaac from Turn Sounds. Funko Pops are just toys.
Welcome to Just Keep Walking. This is a podcast focused on the Walking Dead TV show. Today we're talking about Season 11, Episode 4, called Rendition. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. My name's Ben. I'm your host, joined by...
Isaac, Mark Anthony. Hello.
Awesome, and...
Liam. Just Liam.
Fantastic. Today you know how we like to do things. We like to dive straight into it. Quick spoiler alert. Isaac, do you want to give everyone a heads up?
Yeah, you're respectful, but people need to be alerted of spoilers. So.
Yeah.
Spoilers ahead!
Thank you. And Isaac wasn't here for the last episode recording, so probably after we've covered this episode, we might circle back and get your thoughts on last week's ones.
Great.
At the end. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But otherwise, who wants to start us off? Overall thoughts. I'm going to hand it to Liam.
Yes.
It wasn't too bad. I was a little bit trying to work out what Daryl's angle is for a lot of the episode. Like, I understand you're trying not to sell your mates out and keep them safe to a degree. I'm like, well, what's the end game, buddy? Like, you're now in the clique. Like, was your plan to try and buddy up, save your missus, and it just didn't feel right.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
But overall, it was a decent episode.
Yeah. I've got some thoughts, but yeah, we'll get into it.
Cool.
Yeah, Isaac, what do you reckon?
Similar, I suppose. There's a lot I'd like to talk about regering Daryl and just the general where's the rebel-based mentality that people always want to know somehow.
Yeah.
But yeah, very poorly lit. I'm not a fan of that.
I disagree to an extent, but we'll get into it.
Yeah, particularly at the start, like you couldn't see a thing. Just maybe that was meant to be part of it, but like 15, 10 seconds of that tops I would allow, and then the rest is like it's. On a whole, the Pope is my new favorite bad guy.
Really?
He's my man. Like, he's almost, and don't want to call it early, but he's almost governor status to me.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, right. All right. Well, we'll definitely come back to that. Overall, definitely enjoyed it. I was more intrigued for the first half probably than the second half. I think, it was definitely held my interest, and I was keen to find out more about these guys. But probably just the fact that it was a bottle episode and it was sort of interrogation scene after interrogation scene, and there didn't seem like that much variety. Got sort of bogged it down a little bit to me towards the second half. It's like, okay, well, another conversation scene in a similar setting, but overall, it was good. I'm not obsessed with these guys quite yet, as much as Isaac is maybe with Pope, but we'll see where it goes.
Not the rest of them.
Okay, yeah, cool. Alrighty, well, so starting off, it sort of brings us back to where we left off episode 2 and started 3 as well.
Do you want me to get your tablet? It's easy for you to
Yeah, all right, let's do that. Let's do that. Alrighty, and we're back. I've got my iPad now, so we can actually have a look at the episode. Starts off with same spot. We're in the middle of the attack, and like we saw last week, Daryl runs off, and now we're following him. There were some pretty cool shots here, I thought. Sort of when he's. Oh, now I can't pull it. There we go. When he's off on his own, there's this one here against the brick wall, and you see the silhouette of the guy in the background. So I thought, definitely what you were saying, Isaac, when they're in the woods, you could barely make out anything because it was hard to see what was going on. But I thought a lot of these shots, and this kind of goes for the episode as a whole, it did a good job at sort of lighting specific things. So with this one, we're looking at the background's lit up well so that you can see the silhouette of Daryl, and so you don't see every detail in the shot, but you can see the shapes of things and at least get an idea of where things are moving and what's going on. So for the most part, I didn't mind that too much, and I thought the bits in the woods were supposed to be chaotic, and you could hear dog and things happening, so you got enough of an idea from the audio, but I felt like maybe that was supposed to be a bit disorienting and yeah. But how did you guys feel about that? Was it just annoying that you couldn't quite see what was going on?
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just when it's a prolonged period of time.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you. I think we're supposed to be like, what's going on? Who's winning the fight? We don't quite know. There's a lot of grunting, a lot of stabbing, you know. So you're right, confusing all around. And those shots that you've just mentioned, absolutely gorgeous. And there was one or two shots from when he's inside the cell, which I quite liked as well.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
But mostly everything else was just a bit,
Yeah.
I don't know. Things that were lit by fire were nice as well.
Yeah, okay.
The big burning shed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, keep an eye as we go. So yeah, it's pretty much next.
Why did he coat his hands in Walker blood? Let's talk that.
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
I thought he smeared it on his face a little bit. His face looked a little bit grubby.
Yeah, he
later
did.
on.
Here, you can see.
Didn't do a very good job of it.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's a good question because he's not quite like. It's not like he's trying to go through a Walker herd or something.
No.
And if it was just that casual of a thing, they would do it all the time. Yeah.
On that note, is this one of the only episodes where we didn't see a Walker get killed?
Yeah, I had that thought halfway through. Hey,
Actually,
unless there was one at the start, but I don't think so.
Not that I remember. I don't even think we saw any Walkers other than the one that he dipped his hand into, but that one's already gone.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If that's the case, this will be the second episode after Splinter that doesn't have a Walker kill in it. There you go. There you go. Maybe that's why he did it, just so that we could see a Walker.
Still the same show, viewers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, definitely. Yeah. Send us a message. Head to turnsounds.com, Instagram. Just keep walking. Just keep walking podcast. Instagram. Turn Sounds on Facebook. All of those. Send us a message if you know why he put the blood on his face. That's an interesting one. But yeah, anyway, we see this one Reaper who we get a few close-ups of. There seems to be something else going on. Liam and I both at pretty much the same time went, kind of worked out. That's you were thinking that Leah specifically.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. And then we were sort of like giving ourselves that eye and turned to Isaac. We were like, oh, who else? Like, who's missing and has a connection to Daryl? And obviously he thought Connie because that makes perfect sense.
You look like an idiot.
No, it makes so much sense though. But no, it's Leah. So, yeah, how do we feel about that? Isaac?
She screams to me of Portia De La Rossi from like Arrested Development. Blonde lady.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I see that now.
Yeah, I see that all the time. When she first took off her mask and still had like the balaclava, I was like,
Yeah,
that's an odd choice for this show. But no, I think I'm glad that she wasn't just part of some random episode from the past.
Yeah.
You know, throwing a fish at Daryl. I'm happy that we can actually go, oh yeah, her from that episode.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Definitely. And we touched on this a bit towards the end of the last podcast, but it's sort of good seeing now a lot of the things from those bonus episodes starting to really tie in, and it really makes them feel a lot more purposeful, and like they were definitely precursors to season 11, just setting up a lot of things so that then you could kind of dive right into it here without having to set it all up from scratch and do a whole pile of backstories and stuff like that. So yeah, I think they definitely made that work well, and yeah, it makes the Reapers a lot more interesting now because they're not just some crazy group of weird people. Like you actually know someone from there, and so it makes want to give them a chance or understand where they're coming from. So interesting. Okay, yeah, we got.
Yeah.
Wait, what was? Oh, yeah, that's right. So they're just bringing him into the base.
Cool exterior shots of the base. I really like that like chimney type thing going up. Yeah, I think it's neat. It to me is looking more like this. what's the Savior's base called again?
Sanctuary.
Sanctuary. It kind of like industrial feel about it, which I like.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like some sort of factory or something.
Likely a mill, I would say. Things with very high-reaching chimneys often are.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Yeah, but pretty much straight into a bit of a interrogation. Yeah, again, just back to the lighting. I didn't mind a lot of this stuff because it sort of just gives you enough that you can see what's going on. I felt so at least, but it is still dark and mysterious, and it's supposed to be dark, so it's kind of, it's tricky because it would look all weird and fake if it was really well lit, but you've got to strike the balance of not being annoying. That's too dark. But just one shot that I'm showing you guys specifically where it sort of shows, you've got the background lit up and there's a bit on her face, but it sort of shows you enough of the shapes that you can see what's going on without having to have a spotlight on everyone like the very start of the episode. It's going to be maybe a bit tricky to go through this one because so many of the scenes are really similar. But just the interrogation as a whole, have you got any thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, first of all, I don't know why it isn't just this unspoken agreement throughout just the universe of The Walking Dead at this point in time where it's like you meet someone new on the road, assume that they have a group tucked away somewhere, and it's like, okay, yes, I have a group. I'm with people. There are more of us, but I can't tell you where my base is. You get it, right? And they're like, yeah, sure. That's why we put a bag over your head because we don't want you to know where our base is. So it's like, why are they trying to choke this information out of everyone? Like, where are your people? How many of them are? Like, we left you alone. You abducted us, so clearly we're not a threat to you. Like, just leave us alone. Why can't we be friends?
Like, if they're kidnapping you, they're probably not that reasonable.
But, like, they would have had enough people throughout, like, the years that this has been going on now, where it's like, you don't ask people where's their base. It's this don't ask, don't tell type thing where I have a base, you don't get to know where it is. Next question. Yeah. Okay, fine. I don't know why that's still the top question, Where are your people? Like, they're doing this at the other place, the Commonwealth.
Yeah. It makes sense, though, like, because you want to get their resources and stuff with how scarce food is and all that. It's probably not so much the people, more so just, at least for these guys, it seems like they would just be out to steal and take whatever they can. I definitely liked Daryl's approach. Like, it's a convincing enough story that he's giving them. And it's the sort of thing where, like Leah's pretty much only seen him just on his own out in the wilderness. So it makes sense that he would be out on his own and just run across this random group for a little bit. And he sort of gives them enough that they get something from him and it's believable, but not too much that he's, putting the group in danger. So I thought that worked quite well. I didn't mind the way he did that.
Yeah. In particular, when the other cellmate across from him, I don't know who that was, just some random.
Yeah, I think Cole.
Okay.
But it was hard to see, actually. Yeah.
Funny that.
Yeah.
But so he goes, hey, Daryl. And straight away, Daryl's like, I don't know you, guy across from me. Like, I don't care about you. I'm sticking to my story here. And it was like convincing in the way that I was like, good plan, Daryl. But you could definitely tell the way he was looking away from him and like almost angling his voice, saying, everything. You got it. Yeah. All right. Fine. Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah, way to go. And like, because you know that they're going to be listening.
Yeah.
But does the job. Any thoughts, Liam?
Yeah, pretty much covered it there.
Yeah, sweet. This is maybe just the overall thing with this episode is, it's just kind of going, a lot of the scenes were kind of similar, and maybe that's why it's a little bit tricky to talk about. But, what's going on here? Oh, yeah, we got this guy who's just died. They're doing some sort of ritual. Candles and stuff. I'm not a big fan of all that kind of stuff. Just like, Like I know you've brought it up that it could be interesting to see like a religious sort of zealot group or something. But then again, I feel like I've seen it in so many video games and stuff, like apocalyptic stuff. There's always that group, and there's candles and stuff. Like it's a bit of a aesthetic, and I don't know.
It kind of makes sense though. You'd expect in all the chaos, pretty much exactly like the Pope's monologue says.
Yeah.
We're the chosen people. Like they've just made it, the whole apocalypse, they've just made it make sense that,
Yeah, okay.
God is with us and we're the chosen ones. And
Yeah.
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 When he was first introduced, the Pope, I thought it was like Walter White. Like he looks a lot like
I
him.
am the danger.
Exactly. But when he said like God is mad and I am mad, I was like, "What are you God? Is that like everyone here thinks that you're? Is that what the crazy zealot type thing is?" But I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just not that intrigued by it. Hey, it doesn't make me want to dive deeper into it, and yeah.
Well, it makes them irrational, right? It makes it so that we don't trust them. Anything they say is just straight out of cuckoo land, right?
Sure. And that's the thing. That's why Negan was such a good villain, because the more you hear him talk, there's so much of what he's saying makes sense, but then he just takes some things too far and doesn't do it right. So every time he talks, it's compelling because you're finding more about this guy, and a lot of what he's saying is, more rational than some of what Rick's doing, but then some of it's not. And so it's kind of interesting. But here you just straight away, you just write this guy off as crazy. And so that to me just doesn't make it all that interesting. Like I'm not on the edge of my seat wanting to find out more about these guys. I kind of just want to move on.
It's kind of why, I'm sorry, I'm stealing the thing here.
No, go for it.
It's kind of why I'm liking him so much, because I've already written him off in my mind as just like a crazy, he burnt his own brother or family member to death, like stomped him in the fire.
Yeah.
Like you're absolutely insane. And I'm calling it right now, by the way, Isaac's predictions. The Pope is going to die by killing himself in fire. He's going to set himself on fire and die. That's how he's going out.
All right. Any other predictions, Liam, how he's going to go out eventually?
Leah kills him.
Oh, yeah.
With fire.
Flaming arrow.
Yeah, no, both of those are good. I can't top that. Yeah. So, yeah, honestly, like, just for the rest of the episode, I don't have a whole lot to add. So we'll just go through a few of the scenes. If you got something to say, go for it. Otherwise, I don't want to just go in circles if there's not too much to say. But yeah, we got the conversation between Leah and Daryl at the cell. Just adds a bit more, you find a bit more about where they're coming from and, where Leah's coming from at least, and Daryl's just sticking to his guns. And he's very much, at least you can see he likes her enough, but he definitely doesn't trust her, and he's going full on like, I would never lie to you. As he's feeding her the whole story. So that's a good scene. Good.
I'm pretty happy to say that besides one or two moments in this episode is probably my least favorite of the four yet.
Yeah, sure. No, same here. And well, really at least for the first maybe 10, 15 minutes, I was really sucked into it and enjoying it. It's just that it's just as it goes on, it's just a bit more of the same, and you learn little bits here and there. But even the conversation with Pope and Daryl in a minute after the fire, some of it's interesting, but it just keeps going. It's like, okay, let's move on. And with the whole crazy thing, like the Afghanistan stories, there's something interesting there, like that maybe it's this war vet who's snapped at some point, and there's ideas there that are interesting, but from what we've already seen, and definitely what we see after this, he's just a bit too crazy. There's not really enough rationality and logic to it to make it all that interesting, to me at least. Yeah, the fire at least as far as just visuals go, I thought it looked really good for the most part. There are a few shots where you could tell it was CGI, like in some of the close-ups maybe, but
I didn't notice.
Yeah.
oh, that's good. Yeah, but it really did look good, and yeah, it looks like it was real for the most part. So
Did it seem like a trial to you, or was it like Leah's
I thought
got
it
you?
might be, yeah.
Okay.
for these guys, sure, if that's their trial, I mean they're nuts anyway, and I guess if someone were to die from it, then they would believe, oh well, they're not chosen and blessed and stuff, so they probably wouldn't be bothered killing someone. I'm still really enjoying the sounds and the music for these guys. There's 4 different sort of not themes, but sounds, I guess is the best way to put it. And so like with the Whisperers theme was great, and I'm not complaining about that, but it was the sort of thing where there was a bit of variety later on, but for the most part it was always the same. Dun, 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 dun. But this, you've got really 4 different things that they kind of move between for different scenes, whether it's tension or just general ambience and stuff. And so I'm really liking it. I think all of them sound really cool, and it's good to have a bit of variety there. But each of them you definitely recognize as for the Reapers. So, yeah. Drinking, talking.
I did think it was interesting when the Pope says, like, look at, he's talking to Daryl, like, look at you. Did you get burnt? Did you get cut? Are you hurt in any way? Yeah. And I was kind of thinking, well, like, you only need to look at his lungs, all the smoke inhalation, like damage there. But
give me an X-ray, then we'll find out.
But an interesting kind of philosophy there of like, look at all this danger, yet you came away unscathed. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that's you were touching on that earlier, like maybe they've just been lucky a whole bunch of times and they're taking that as thinking they're higher or
divine intervention,
something like that, and so then they're getting crazy and overconfident. So it's interesting. And the whole idea of never run away, and why the wounds on your back, that means you must have been running away. At least that shows us a bit of their philosophy, and I thought it was interesting at least. Although if I were that guy, I would just say they were surrounding us and someone attacked me from behind.
That's what I thought.
Exactly. There are so many ways out of that where you're like, while I had him on my back, and we were carrying away, some guy threw a knife in my back.
Yeah, there were lots of them.
Yeah.
So bad move from that guy, but oh well. And the whole fire thing works because you're really seeing how far this guy goes and how much he stands by his beliefs, and you at least have a rough idea of the foundation of it. But I thought the fire was just a bit. Probably Game of Thronesy is the main thing where like they kind of. I don't know if you thought that at all. It feels like they just have fun killing people in creative ways and doing close-ups of it, where it's not usually a part of Walking Dead. So
it was a bit strange, wasn't
it? And the main thing is the shots and what it's focusing on. So episode 2 with Gage, like that was a gory death, but you were seeing close-ups of Maggie's reaction, and it was the character making a statement and looking her in the eye and doing all these things, and so there was character side of it going on. But with this, there's like it keeps cutting back to close-ups of the guy burning in the fire, so it's like, oh, you're just having fun killing this guy in for the shock factor rather than showing Daryl's reaction or something like that for a story purpose. So it just felt slightly off to me, but overall it works, and at least from this whole episode, we've got definitely an interesting idea of who the Reapers are, what their general set of beliefs, and how far they'll go. And we still don't know really why they have a problem with Maggie's group and where that conflicts come from. So that's definitely what I'm more interested in. But yeah, it definitely sets up some interesting stuff for the future. So see how it goes.
After the high of last episode, this one was a bit disappointing.
Yeah, fair enough. And yeah, you, Liam, any final thoughts?
Yeah, probably in the same sort of scope. I think what you said nuts it out well, sums it up well. English thing, I don't know.
Nuts it out well as
Yeah,
well.
it'll work. Yeah, like it started off quite decent, but the repetitive nature of the, maybe not so much torture, but interrogation, yeah, it just got a little bit boring towards the end of it.
Yeah, and I mean, really, these guys missed their biggest opportunity. If you want to get something out of Daryl, all you have to do is play Easy Street while he's locked in the cell.
Can you imagine him like, not this again?
I'll tell you everything. Fine. The preview for next week, though, I'm really looking forward to next week. It's got variety. You can see it's got like 4 different storylines that we'll be cutting between, and it just looks a lot more interesting to me. So definitely looking forward to next week. Seeing where that goes. Yeah. So there we go. Shall we circle back a bit to episode 3, which Isaac wasn't here for the podcast recording of? Do you want to give us some of your thoughts on that one?
Absolutely. I've just got a couple of dot-pointed notes here.
Go for it.
I'll say overall, really enjoyed it. Cinematography was brilliant.
Yeah, nice.
Most every shot, bar one. There was one that stuck out to me. I was like, why did you do that for? But
which one was it?
so you got Maggie walking towards a building while she's being hunted. And she goes in, she tries the door, and then a knife gets thrown into the door. The shot of her walking up is like from underneath. She's probably walking on some kind of treadmill or something. It's just from the bottom looking up as she's like looking forward, and it's almost an under the chin type shot, and it lasts for maybe 5 seconds.
I don't remember that one, but fair enough.
It's like a typical J.J. Abrams thing where he goes really up close and underneath.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
interesting.
Only that one, I will say, come on, man. Like,
yeah.
What was that for?
Right.
But everything else, yeah, really good.
Cool.
So overall high note. At the end, especially with like the blood and guts hanging off Negan's crowbar and Maggie like looking at that, you've got both of them in the shot. I was like, that screams of like Glenn and like the bat and stuff. So like,
for sure,
beautiful. But some of it sounds critical, okay? And if I were to be this guy, it's like it sucks to be sitting with this guy that has this opinion when you're there. Like, why didn't they do this? Or, that's not realistic.
Right.
Like, I try to enjoy the... But my first note is, I'm just not a fan of guerrilla warfare, perfect guerrilla warfare. The type that the Reapers are doing right at the start, where it's like they vanish into thin air, and all of a sudden... There are these knives coming out. There are people running up, cutting people's throats, and then you turn around and they're completely gone. And it's a little too perfect to be realistic for me. Like,
interesting.
I get it. It's confusing. They've come out of nowhere all of a sudden. But like, if their plan was to hunt them, they shouldn't have been walking on the road in a perfect V shape from the start. They should have just been hiding in the jungle waiting.
Yeah.
And taking them out that way.
And that was definitely sort of the big question for me from last week was it doesn't seem like they're out to kill them necessarily, because if they were, there's, like you said, there's much better ways to do it. So it really seems like they're just sort of scattering them and splitting people up, and obviously they've taken Daryl with them. So it really seems like there's more going on, and there's a lot of times where maybe they could have killed people, but they didn't. And so it definitely begs the question of, what they're trying to get out of it. So maybe we'll find out more. I was hoping we would this week. It didn't really explain any of that stuff. But we'll see where it goes. Hey, do you get that vibe, though, that they're not just out to kill them?
A little bit. I'm wondering if it's kind of that trial by fire, like whoever survives.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
Type thing.
That would make sense.
But they have gotten some cuts, so I don't know what that means. As far as that. But the second one is people are taking way too much damage and walking it off. I don't know if you guys have ever gotten like a puncture wound from something, like even a shallow one. It's enough to leave you bruised and like it's really tender. If it's something you have to walk on,
you're not.
you're limping. You're trying not to step on it.
Yeah.
And like you've got Father Gabriel who gets like slashed in the side of the neck. Negan takes something to the shoulder or something. A whole bunch of them. This guy took I think 4 different blade throws and he ended up dying. Jordan, what's his name? The really massive.
Oh
black
yeah,
dude.
yeah. Oh, now I've forgotten. We'll just call him Mr. T.
Oh dear.
It looks like Mr. T.
A little bit.
A bit.
But the whole point of like it was that I would be careful if I was managing this show. Like, how many slashes can you take? And like, it's debilitating. It's so painful. Even in a life and death, I get it. You've got adrenaline going and you can do amazing things, but also, come on, like,
Interesting.
So,
and that was, I guess it wasn't a massive deal, but it's something actually. I'll just plug Squawking Dead real quick. I did a podcast with them not too long ago. And one of the episodes we covered was 603, and there's just a small bit in that where Rick is like pulling a machete out of a walker and cuts his hand. And then for the next, like it's on the poster of season 7. It's for the next sort of 2 seasons pretty much. He's got this bandage on his hand, and there's a few parts where he has to do something and goes, and so there's small things like that, but then they don't just shake it off by the next episode. Like it's still there and this little annoying thing. So yeah, it's definitely good when, it's followed through on in future episodes.
You got Father Gabriel pulling a full-on pig stabber out of his like
knee
or something.
Yeah.
His thigh.
Not walking away from that too easy.
Oh boy.
Well, literally, like you wouldn't be able to walk. The muscle would not physically work if it's been severed and slashed up.
You'd be bleeding profusely as well. But
yeah, it's a good point.
At this point, I don't know. I tried to make a note because it's funny. Whenever we see these groups and there are a whole bunch of people who we don't even know their names, I'm like, you're walking into this show, you're going to get killed in some terrible way.
Right, yeah.
Either eaten by walkers or killed by the Reapers or whatever. This giant black dude, I was like, I'm going to remember your name. I'm going to really try and remember your name.
I knew his name
with a
before
J.
this. Yeah,
but by the end of the episode...
Douglas? No, that's not it. I don't know.
It's not Jordan, is it? Or
I don't think so.
Julian?
I'm going to look it up now. We'll sort this out.
Maybe it is Douglas, actually. Douglas.
All right, 2 seconds.
Anyway.
Jeffrey?
Duncan.
Hey. Duncan with the J, silent J.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. There's just a whole bunch of fodder that are coming along and being taken down. Which, in a way, it's fun because it shows us the danger that's out there without getting rid of main characters.
Yeah, sure.
So, yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Although that being said, we're in the final season. You've got so many characters. Like, we haven't even seen Dan Fogler this season. Not saying you should kill him off.
Believe me, I've realized.
Yeah. So, like, you've got characters who mean something, or at least, like, I really liked in the season 10 finale how Beatrice, the girl from Oceanside, died. Like, you recognized her because you'd seen her in a few scenes, but she wasn't like important. Most people didn't remember her name, but still she didn't just pop up out of nowhere. So you've got lots of side characters like that. Scott from Alexandria is one of them. Lots of people like him. You probably don't know who I'm talking about. Yeah. But there's people who are around who we recognize who you could do scenes like that with, rather than just like you're saying, bringing in random people and you just know that they're going to die within the next few episodes. But what can you do?
Then moving over to the horse catching and all of that.
Yeah.
Of course, it didn't work. You're coming up to wild horses swinging around. I don't know what they thought was going to happen. Like, as soon as they started that, I was like, why don't you build some kind of a paddock? It's not that hard. Horses don't typically like to jump over things like that. And then just, lure them into the thing. And so when Rosita said that, and loving her sword, by the way, that thing is sick. Trying to look up the name, but I can't anyway,
Right,
spiked
yeah.
sword. Great that they ended up doing that.
Yeah.
Really cool. I'm just trying to get through this.
Yeah, sure.
The whole like, and again, I don't know if you guys covered this because I haven't finished listening.
That's
to
all right.
the
Yeah.
episode, but the whole if you're able to touch the ear of a horse, it means that it trusts you.
Yeah.
And later on, when Carol is about to slaughter, it's not she brushes past the ear, and the horse kind of like does like a little that thing that.
Oh, that's rough, man.
Yeah.
We did get into that a bit. So
Okay.
yeah.
Rough stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked
R.I.P.
everything with Negan and Maggie.
Yeah.
Just finally, we've like driven those two together, and now they're gonna
Yeah.
have to work out their stuff, which is great.
100%. And yeah, we touched on this a bit already, but yeah, I really like, and I feel like you'll appreciate this definitely, that they're not just beating around the bushes, and it's not just like angry looks once in a while, and
Yeah.
they're not talking about anything. Like they're very just honest with each other. They know they have to get along enough to get through this and work things out, so they're not being impractical, but there's still this underlying thing there, which is it's coming up in conversation. They're not just darting around it. They're talking about it, but still saying, well, regardless of how we feel, we still have to make a decision right now. So I like that, definitely.
Well, also on the one hand, you've got Negan saying like things change, people change, and Maggie's like, you've got everyone fooled, even yourself. Like, but yeah, no, I'm not falling for it. But I also realize that I don't believe once Negan has ever apologized to her.
Well, I was thinking about this, right? Because it was sort of annoying for a while because you want him to really change and apologize, but a big part of me feels like he hasn't, like he's changed, but he doesn't still regret all the things he's done, because he does have a logic to the way he ran things with the saviors, and I feel like there's still a big part of him that believes that was the right way to do things, or stands by the fact that it worked and he ran an effective community. So sure, he would do things differently if he went back in time, but I don't think he's got that much regret necessarily of the way he did things, because it worked for what he was trying to achieve. And I haven't quite seen the remorse side of it. Like, obviously we want him to, but I don't think he quite does feel sorry for Maggie and really like see the effect of what he's done. I feel like he's more so, well, it sucks, but that's life in the apocalypse, and I did what I had to do, and you just got to deal with it, because that's kind of the attitude he's had. Like when he walked back at the end of his Negan and he was smirking, he's just kind of saying, well, look, I've earned my place here. You're not going to like it, and I'm not going to apologize because I've done what I have to do, and that's that. Like, it seems to be the kind of attitude he's got at the moment, which at least he's got his convictions, he's sticking to his guns, but yeah. So thinking about that, at least where he's at, not that I agree with it, but I understand the character and where he's at. So yeah.
True. I got two more things.
Yeah.
And then I'm done. First of all, I would like to officially ban AMC from arm bites from now on.
Oh.
Like, they have had their day in the sun. I'm sorry. If you're reaching out to stab something and a walker comes along and like, because they always grab the arm first.
Yeah.
You can, at least try and like yank your arm away, like back into yourself, or like push it. They always seem to look at their arm and then
the walker grabs it with their hands first, and
I've had enough. And the only way that they can continue to do it is somebody just offhand or in a meeting or somewhere needs to just say, hey, has anybody realized how unnaturally strong the walkers are? Like, we think that they're frail skeletons, but in actual fact, when they grab you, like, they're super strong.
Yeah.
If they would just say something like that, then I'd go, so once they grab your arm, there's no getting away from them.
Sure.
Like, they just need that. They need to say that, they're strong.
Yeah.
That's how they can smash through things as well, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And it definitely makes sense because, like, us humans, we have, like, the jaw strength to bite through crazy things, but we don't for the sake of self-preservation and stuff like that. But walkers don't have that self-preservation, so they can just smash through a glass window or bite through something that would damage us as people, but they don't care because they're dead. So that, like you said, if it was just acknowledged at one point, then you'd go, oh, okay, that's why they didn't escape from that.
Because some of them are so decayed as well, like their muscles and ligaments and stuff like that are all rotted away. So you'd imagine some of them would be really brittle and tender,
Sure, yeah.
Versus a bodybuilder zombie who's just turned and grabs you and you're like, oh dang.
That's why it's good that Maggie stabbed Duncan in the head, because I wouldn't want to face off against Walker version of him.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's been enough. Season 1, we had the sister of Who's Her Face.
Yeah. Amy? Was it Amy?
Yeah,
get bitten. And that was shocking because it was really quick all of a sudden. None of this grab and then jaw open and then bite.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. It's the last season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And in World War Z with Brad Pitt, on the very first day of the apocalypse, he worked out to wrap magazines around his arms.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt can work it out. You guys can do it 10 years in.
Yeah. Yeah. And in that scene where Agnes is getting, I think it's Agnes, she gets her arm bitten, and in that scene I was just talking about, and then Negan pulls Maggie away and she's saying, no.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that was just one of those random side characters.
Yeah, exactly. In that moment, I was kind of oh, man, because now she's going to be all angry with Negan for doing the sensible thing and dragging her away. But they didn't dwell on that too much. So that was...
No. And I think based on what happened with, Gage, the guy getting, they left him in the train car a few episodes ago, Maggie's made very similar decisions in the same day. So I think they understand each other at least.
Yep. And then just finally, and this was it made me laugh because this was actually right at the start. You got Magna, who I think looks very different all of a sudden.
Yeah, she's got her hair tied back and stuff, which is...
Maybe she's lost weight or something. Her face just looks leaner. I don't know. I didn't...
I mean, there was at least 6 months between shooting, if not... more because of COVID. So, yeah. It has been a while.
And you're right, hair tied back makes a person look quite different. So she has got a bow and arrow, and she's going to shoot at some faraway birds. Okay? Think about this for more than 5 seconds. So... she's fully drawn, and there's a cluster of birds. This is not a single hawk gliding across where you can hope to track and then shoot and intercept, This is some crows or ravens. And what are you going to do? You're going to hit a very tiny hitbox, and these fluttering around. You don't know which one to focus on. Even if you do strike true, it's going to drop far beyond the wall that you're guarding. What, are you going to go retrieve a crow and go and eat it?
I got dinner, guys.
Exactly. The best case scenario is, that, I suppose. But otherwise, you're just going to lose an arrow.
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole thing to me was just kind of what are you doing? Are you that bored where you're just going to fire pot shots off at random birds? And
hey, man, when you're standing guarding a wall doing nothing for ages, maybe...
Seems appealing.
Yeah. I don't know. But that I did have a laugh when she did. I was I don't know about that.
Yeah. Part of me, and this is a broader spanning thing, if you're a character in this series and the director says, okay, now you're going to take aim at those birds and then you hear someone and you're going to turn, you're trying to kind of become the character, right? I guess that's the idea.
Yeah.
And so part of it should be, what do I think I would do in this situation if I was there? And I just wonder how often these actors say to the director, I'd never do that. I wouldn't, why would I shoot at these birds for? Even if I hit it, it's going to fall, we can't get it. What's the point of it all,
I guess the one thing with that, which is definitely explored in the episode, is just that they're so... scarce on food. Yeah. When you're hungry and you're tired, you don't think that's straight. And B, it seems like they are desperate enough. Obviously, logically thinking, it's just not going to work. But if you're that desperate, maybe you'd give it a shot. Because they have to like kill and eat a horse by the end, so they're pretty desperate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be an excellent shot if she did hit it.
Yeah.
That's like, if you're tired and hungry, you're not going to shoot straight anyway. Like,
Yeah, sure. But like maybe your brain's not working that well just because you're so desperate and you're like, oh, maybe I could get it.
True.
So for that sense, just for setting up how desperate they are, that works for me at least. But it just it wouldn't work.
I know it was a very quick scene, but it almost would have been better to have some random standing guard on the wall, and then if Magna like goes to line up a shot, the person just says like, it's not worth it, like, or something.
Yeah, okay, I can see that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good point.
But yeah, overall, my favorite, I think similar to you, Ben, my favorite of the 4 so far.
Cool.
Some really beautiful shots there.
Nice.
I'm glad this is now shot in HD. It's
Yeah, it's cool.
it's good. That's it. Yeah.
Awesome. One random note: the director for this week's episode was the same as last week, which is and he's like episode 3 was the first episode he's done for the show, so that's pretty rare. The first 2, the part 1 and 2 at the start of season 11 were obviously all the same crew and same director and stuff, so it was probably just something to do with scheduling for that and stuff, but just random, just something interesting to know. And really, even though this week we felt it was a little bit of a letdown, just mainly because of the content of it just being all the same thing, as far as actual directing and the technical side of it goes, I really thought it was well done, quite liked it, so yeah, there you go. Cool. Alrighty, I think we'll wrap it up there for episode thoughts. At least you want to do a previously on Walking Dead, or leave it there? Actually, how are you going for work time, Liam?
Yeah, I don't have the time.
All right, cool. We'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Definitely appreciate it. We'll I'm definitely looking forward to next week's episode. But for now, I've been Ben.
Always Liam.
I'm still Isaac.
Awesome. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Adios.